It's Colorado's Afternoon News with Dave Logan and Susie Wargin.
3:43 on Colorado's Afternoon News. Thanks for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us here on News Radio 850 KOA. I'm Susie Wargin, hanging around with you until 5 o'clock today. At that time, Mike Rice and Susan Whitkin will take you up to the rest of the evening until 7 o'clock. So have you seen the pictures of Renee Zellweger? I saw him first on Entertainment Tonight yesterday, and at first I really couldn't tell much of a difference, but now when I look a little more and I have more time than just 3 seconds to kind of look side by side, I can see some differences, but there's also, I think, a little thing called age that comes into account, and that is what Renee is saying. She's like, hey, you know what? I'm older now. I'm glad that people think I look different, but some people think she has had a lot of work done. We were joined by Dr. Bill Johnson, a plastic surgeon, and Dr. Johnson, you are in Texas, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. What kind of plastic surgery do you specialize in?
I do mostly liposuction and fat transfer work, so most of my work is done in fat.
Okay, very good. Well, I assume you've seen the pictures of Renee Zellweger. What do you think? Do you think there's you have more of a trained eye than the average Joe like me would?
Well, I think that she's had some aging process, certainly, but I think also age doesn't typically change things like the size of your face,
right,
and the shape of your face. And they typically our cheeks get softer and less pronounced, and the folds, like the folds coming down from your nose to the corner of your mouth, tend to get more pronounced, not less pronounced. And so I think she's definitely had some work done in the last year or so.
Yeah, and you know, as I look at that, an older picture of her jaw is definitely a little more square. And it seems
she was famous for a round face.
Right.
That was one of the things. And now she's much more an oval face. So definitely has changed some, both the shape of her face and the shape of her eyes.
Okay, so as someone that knows very little about any kind of plastic surgery, how does one go from a square face to an oval face? I mean, do you shave off bones? What happens there?
Well, I think on this is looks more like a fairly standard facelift.
Okay.
She's had a facelift with some volume, either implants or her own fat put into her cheeks and the folds coming down from her nose. And I think she's probably had an eye job.
Yeah, her eyes do look like a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and before, she had the squinty, that was, again, one of the things she was known for, were those expressive, somewhat squinty eyes, and now they're more open. And so I think that it's probably mostly a facelift with eye job and some volume put into the cheeks and folds, probably her own fat.
Probably. Okay, interesting. We're talking with Dr. Bill Johnson, a plastic surgeon out of Texas. So when you have people that come to you and want to get things done, do you, sometimes people probably don't know they may look quite a bit different than they do now. Do you have any way of kind of showing them that this is what you need to be able to know that you might look like, or is it kind of a crapshoot?
Well, my personal feeling is to try and help folks look like they did themselves when they were younger. And so I tend to go over that with the person, and when we're doing things like fat transfer to the face to restore volume, we like to do it from a picture of them when they were young. So if you come in your 50s and want to say, hey, I've lost volume in my cheeks, I've lost volume in my face, I'd like to restore it, I'd have you bring in a picture of yourself when you were 18 to 20. That way you have adult facial pattern, but you've not started to lose any facial fat. And then we use that as the pattern to try and restore your look, if you would. And then that allows us to make you look like a younger version of yourself, as opposed to what's been called the third-person phenomenon. You look like yourself as a young person, then you're an older person, but then when you do the work, you look like somebody else, a third person.
Which is kind of what she looks like, right? I mean, you're supposed to kind of go back to what you used to look like, and then if you look completely different, and it's pretty obvious sometimes, and it makes me sad when I see some women that they've just done way too much. Their lips are too big, there's too much in their cheeks, their eyes are, I feel like somebody has just taken their whole face and pushed it back.
And you do see that quite a bit, and some of it is real popular in Hollywood, and the youth is king there, and you can honestly say that some of this work they do as a career move.
Yeah.
If someone that's been the romantic interest gets to be 45, they're not going to be cast in a romantic role anymore.
Right.
And so they have to look like they're 30 or 25 again. And sometimes it looks better than others, but it definitely is, I think it's no different than an athlete going to the gym and pumping iron. That's part of what they do for a living.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dr. Bill Johnson, appreciate your time this afternoon. Interesting pictures there. If you get a chance and you haven't looked at it yet, Google Renee Zellweger and you will see the side-by-side differences between then and now.